Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are here with on the Integrated Entrepreneurs, and we're going to talk about having a day one mentality or building your business from the ground up. Certain things that you need to put in place to make sure that you have a viable business that will last and will make the impact that you want. Keith is helps many entrepreneurs do this, and I do as well from a different perspective. So, Keith, what are some of the things that people need to do day one or to build their business the right way?
Yeah, I think it even starts before like the business is even a thing, right? And so
Yep.
let's talk about that. What's the journey to business ownership? It typically starts with being pissed off with an employer, realizing that you're tired of working for someone else, identifying something that you like to do, and then figuring out how to monetize that thing, right? And then what happens is like we're so focused on making money to pay our bills that we avoid and skip all of the foundational shit. And then when we look up, we're like, oh shit, I got 9 employees. I don't know how much money I'm making. I don't know what we're worth and business value. So like where it starts for me and kind of what we talk through is like, what's your passion first and foremost? And then let's talk about what the end zone looks like first. Is this a lifestyle business that you just want to simply pay your bills? Is this a generation two company that you want to build and scale to give your children? Or is it something that you want venture capital to come in and swoop you off your feet and pay you $1 trillion and you get to ride off into the sunset? So first and foremost is clearly identifying like what is it, what are we doing? What are you after? What is your passion? And then knowing what's the end goal? Like what are we going to do? Are we selling, keeping, scaling? Then we can reverse engineer to the first side of this thing and put the right puzzle pieces in play first. So when we talk about like foundation, if we're going to scale this thing, we need to know what do companies look at, right? When they go and purchase other companies, what are the metrics they're looking at? What are is it EBITDA? Is it top line revenue? Is it net profit? Right? Understanding what these companies are after so that we can have a very strong focal point on that out of the gate. Then it's a matter of putting the foundation, right? QuickBooks. You got to have some QuickBooks. You need something to continue to track your scales and your money and all the shit, right? Then you need to worry about your profit. But then we need what I think where people really screw up is they get a little taste of money and then like I'm going to take this bitch to the moon. Let's scale it. And then they run, right? And then they turn around and they're like, no one's running with me. What happened? Right now they're backpedaling to go fix all the shit they skipped.
Yep.
Right. So to me, it's like let's just get clear and concise ideas on what we're trying to accomplish first, and then we can build the shit around it that makes sense and that works. Right. What are
Absolutely.
your thoughts on that on the front side of the business?
I think it's vital, right? I think that how are you going to get to a destination and you don't know the destination, right? So putting this foundation in place is crucial. I think the other thing is you got to figure out what your company represents.
That's right.
And a lot of people don't understand core values. Core values are
What
kind
is
of
that?
like, yeah, core
What is a
values are
core
really
value?
things that are important, okay, to you that you operate your business off of. Basically,
That's
an
right.
invisible compass, okay? And having those listed and posted is not enough. Like if you look behind me, you'll see our core values, okay? But me having that there means nothing if I don't, one, live by them, two, hire, fire, praise, and punish by them. All right. It's basically your commandments in your business. Okay. And then you need to figure out what your mission is or what impact you want to make. Like Keith said, you could still want to make a giant impact and still sell to a VC company. Okay. However, if you don't know that's what you want to do, make a giant impact and then sell, it's hard to focus on what you need to focus on. So build your core values, live by them, and everybody you hire in the business needs to live by them. All right. That will make everything a million times easier as you're trying to scale it. Because as you're hiring people, you want people that match and identify with those core values. Because if they do, they're going to integrate, all puns intended, much more seamlessly into your operations and into your business, even if it's the first employee. All right. And it's very important that you think that these things that we're going to discuss here are stuff you have to worry about year 3, year 5, year 10. If you integrate them now and you use them now when you're smaller, if you're smaller, it's going to be much easier to make that winning culture grow because you started it when there was not a lot of people around and everybody was bought in. Because the more people you get to and the higher you get in business, the harder it is to make wholesale changes. Okay. So make sure that is a piece of it. And I'm going to tell you guys something. All the stuff that Keith is going to drop on you, I drop on you, is great. However, if you don't have a good or great product and people they don't feel a certain way after working with you, you're never going to build those partnerships. You're never going to build relationships. You're not going to have repeating business, and you're not going to have people that recommend your business. So you could do everything right as a function of business. But if your clients do not love working with you, that's the end of your business. I'm just going to tell
Yeah,
you.
I mean,
'Cause
listen, like the reality is this: you and I have met people. Everyone on this call who is listening to this has met someone where their gut instinct was like, run.
Yep.
Guy's a slime ball. Guy sucks. He's untrustworthy. Whatever it may be, whatever definition you want to use, that is your instincts telling you that they don't live by your core values, right? So core values to me: honesty, integrity, service before self. Okay. The 3 that I've ingrained in me from the military, right? The Air Force. If anybody's ever been in the military, ever went to the Air Force, that is what you wake up and say every morning. You sing your core values. And so the reality is this was something hard for me to do in the beginning of business because, again, I was trying to feed my family, right? Just like everyone else who goes into business. The shit is hard enough as it is. It's even harder to turn away money on the front side. So the reality behind it all is once you do business with a scumbag, you get looked at as a scumbag by other people who know that guy's a scumbag, right?
Yep.
The second component is if you're willing to overlook your internal instincts and your own core values for money, you will always do it.
Mm-hmm.
So the quicker you can cut that off and sever the snake's head, the better it's going to be for you long term, even though in that moment it is painful. It's painful to say no to a deal. But the reality is that deal is going to cost you 10 times more than it's made you over the longevity of your career and your business. Now, I've ended partnerships over core values that were really good partnerships. The reality is I didn't want to hang my hat on that hook and get taken down because core values showed their ugly head down the road not to match.
Yep.
Right? And so I would say that, that you hit home there with the reality. You have to really do some inspection on who you're going into business with. And I don't mean as partnerships. Of course, that comes into play too. I mean as a business, as a customer-client relationship. Because the reality is this. Ask yourself this question. If this guy calls me Monday morning at 8:30 bitching and complaining, is that who I want to deal with? Right? Is that person the person that I want to have to fucking talk to all week because their core values are different than mine and they think a certain way and differently than I think? So the quicker you can learn that, the quicker you can implement and identify your core values and operate off of them, to your point, hire, fire, and promote based on the principles of your core values. That's what traction teaches us, right? I mean,
Yep.
that's, when we talk about building a big organization, if that is in your desire category, you're going to have to learn how to lead your team with your core values at the forefront of that leadership.
Yep.
Because if you're not pushing it down their throat and holding them accountable to live by them, no one's going to live by them. And then your business is going to run away from you, because at a certain point, a CEO is just a CEO. It's just a CEO, and they can be fired too, right? Let's talk about Apple. The dude who invented it, you get fired, bro. Like, you're not invincible, right? You don't live by the core values of the business. And the reality there was, like, his core values were overridden by other people's core values because he didn't properly identify core values.
Yep.
And then he realized that after, I don't know, was it 10 years or some shit of like pain? I need to come back in with core values and turn this ship around. And he was able to kind of take it back over.
Yep.
So no one's invisible when it relates to the core value spectrum. And so 1-man operation, 75,000 man operation, doesn't matter. People will not do business with you if they feel like you're a slime bag. It just is what it is. So have some decency, have some core values, live by them, project them in your day-to-day conversations, and life will be easier.
Much easier.
Crazy concept, I know. But the idea is, like, if you don't stand for something, no one will stand for you.
It's true.
Right?
I think we got it.
That's that one. That the core values is a heavy one. And then the core value leads into your relationships with people, right? Who you're hiring as the bookkeeper, who you're hiring as the CPA. Those folks need to be able to identify with your core values. They don't necessarily have to have the same ones, but they need to respect yours and abide by them, and vice versa, right? Like time boundaries. Hey, we just had this conversation before, trying to find another day to talk. I'm like, hey, bro, Wednesdays and Thursdays are off the table. I take the kids out on a date. I date my daughters, right? Core values. It's important
100%.
to me. And what'd you say? Man, that is totally cool. No problem. Let's find a different time.
Exactly.
Right? So the reality is, you respect my core values, I respect yours. We don't trump each other, and we have no issues. It's the same thing that you're going to have as a with clients. If you're in sales, you got to respect your client. You can't just be blowing their ass up at midnight talking about, hey, sign that document. I need it. You got to have respect and core values there. So I think that's really good. And then it relates to all your relationships. And if you can just get lucky enough to identify those people, eagles fly with eagles.
Yep.
Right. And then you just jive together, which is great.
100%.
So
100%.
Core values is heavy, man. It's a good one.
Yeah. And then
that's almost more important than a P&L.
It's huge. I mean, here's the thing too. Hearing it took me, I heard it for probably 18 months and dismissed it for 18 months.
Yeah.
And it took a while for it to click, but once it clicked and I started implementing it, it actually changed the whole dynamic of my business, because it showed me who I wanted, who I didn't want, and what I needed to do. Like, I always had my internal core values, but I never actually spoke outwardly of them until I wrote them down and pushed them through to my team. And then that changed the game for me. Okay. And if we're talking day one and some important things to build your business the right way, let's talk. You need to also know, not just know your numbers, but you need to have a way to bring clients to the table, right? You have a great product, great service. You designed all your operations, built out all the operations to have this great product or service. You need to be able to know how you can bring clients in. What do I mean by that? Well, for me, I would say 90% of my business is referral based. Okay. So it's having referral partners and then maintaining and upholding my reputation of getting it done and getting people into the program they deserve to be in. However, you also need to be able to run ads to bring clients in, because guess what? The way that I built my business, painstakingly slow. Okay, 15 years of going to war for people to get recognized for what I do. Most people aren't going to wait that long. So you need to have a dialed in way to know, hey, if I spend $1 in ads, it's going to bring in however much money in revenue. Okay. Million ways to do that. But if you don't have that, or you don't have that figured out soon or early on enough, you're basically, whatever capital you have, you're going to burn through until you figure that out. So you have to build the business with the ability to attract clients in a repeatable process. Keith, what's your ideas on that?
Yeah, no, I think that's good. Referral partners are always great, um, especially when you can link up with the ones that share the same type of core values.
Yep.
Because there's shitty referral partners out there too.
Yeah, there are.
And what I mean by shitty is they'll send you people that you don't want to do business with because they don't know. They don't identify with who you're looking for and all those things. So when we think about growing business, right, let's just talk about what's available to us for free.
Yeah.
Social media. Okay. Now that doesn't mean go post 46 times a day about your plumbing company. Okay, but let's talk tactics around some social media opportunities. If I was a plumber, let's just stick to that. I don't know where plumbing came from, but I pulled it out of my ass. So if I'm a plumber and I'm new, I'm going to go and find all of the home service groups to get myself into. And I'm going to focus on adding value. Then I'm going to go find all of the neighborhood watch type groups where Karen is bitching about dogs and cats running loose, right? And all the noise the kids are making in the neighborhood. And I'm going to add value to that group, and I'm going to educate people on plumbing. Hey, here's how you unstop your toilet. Hey, here's how you stop the leak from your faucets. And I'm going to just provide value over and over and over and over again. Everyone's got a little phone. Everyone can click record and shoot a little quick video and upload it. But the reality is the quickest way to grow your business is by being engaged in groups and on social media, letting people know what you do in an educational way. Not, hey, I started a plumbing company. If you need, your pipes cleaned, call me. You need to educate how it's done and give the sauce away, give the game away on all things plumbing, because guess what? You may teach me everything I need to know about unplugging a toilet, but guess what I'm not going to go do? I'm not going to go unplug I'm going to call someone. And if you're the one who I am consistently seeing providing the value, I'm going to identify you as a subject matter expert and I'm going to call you. Right? And the reality is that's how you're going to get business. So if you're new in business or young in business and you don't have a bunch of money to do paid ad and pay-per-click and all these other shitty marketing schemes, just use your $49 a month Boost mobile phone or whatever it is you got, put some videos together and post them.
Yeah.
Now the key to that is don't watch the damn video. Just post the shit. Because you're never going to think you look good. You're never going to think you sound great. You're never going to think any of the shit looks and is amazing. The reality is, if you'll be there for 6 years recording the same video, and you're not going to like any of them.
Yep.
So post them, just post. And the metrics behind it, in my opinion, post 4 or 5 times a day across different platforms and different videos and just consistently every single day. Provide value, lean in, educate, and your phone's going to start ringing. It's just the nature of the beast, right? So that's one of the first things that identify core values and what we're trying to do, identify the service or product, and we start to market that thing. And once we start to market it, yeah.
So everything that you're saying is on point. And guys, I did this in the lending space, so you can easily do this in any other space. When you're doing these videos, okay, they need to educate, entertain, and have some level of an emotional response, whether good or bad. Okay? If you were to, and I've done this where I've given away everything. Okay? I teach people how to build their business credit, teach people how to get the best equipment financing. I have more guides and more giveaway information that is actually useful that most people could not get that level of anywhere else. and I give it away to anybody and everybody. And people will always, even if it's something I taught and they don't need me for, they will still reach out and ask me for help doing it, or they'll ask to contract my team. All right. Because at the end of the day, when a problem does arise, most people want an expert to do it. So don't ever feel like you're giving away the farm, or you've given away everything you've worked for to put out a little bit of education. People will actually want to be reciprocate with you and give you the business just because you were so helpful. All right. You can't give enough. You give, you give, you give. And you know what? Some people start to give back. You give, you give, you give, more people give back. And then those people that have given back to you, if you wow them because you have great service and a great process and you go above and beyond, they're going to be the best marketing you can ever have. Why? Because if they are really that blown away by what you've done, they're going to refer all their friends, because everybody wants to look like the hero. Everybody wants to have the guy. Keith and me, we're usually the guy, right? If somebody needs something, someone can't figure it out, they'll go to Keith. Well, they'll go to me. If it's Keith's wheelhouse, Keith, need you, got a guy here, help him, vice versa. Building relationships like that, building businesses like that, that's what lasts. Okay? Don't discount that. Keith, what's that next?
Listen, we just witnessed a few months ago the biggest giveaway that we've seen to man, Alex Ramosi, and the $100 million leads, completely gave away everything.
Mm-hmm.
And has been giving away, I don't know, for 10 years or so, however long he's been on the scene, dropping 15 to 20 different content reels and clips a day. Gary Vee, same shit. Gives away everything, right? I mean, we can sit here and name 10 people off the top that are still very huge influencers in their sphere that are, they can't count the money that they're making. They're just not fast enough, right? The reality is, the more you give, the more you receive.
Yep.
It's that simple. The problem is that people get caught up between their ears, and they think that their proprietary information has to be kept a secret, or they're never going to get another client. And I'm like, throw that shit up on the table, let everyone have it.
Yep.
Because people on a mission aren't going to take the time to go do this shit. They're going to say, man, this guy gave away all of the information, and he's been giving away information for years. And this guy over here doesn't give any information. He just posts up like a peacock. Who are they going to call? The subject matter expert is the one who's been giving you the data.
Demonstrating the solution.
Correct. And so the quicker we can get to a place where we say, hey, guys, are you a business owner that doesn't know their numbers and doesn't have an idea of what they can spend on ads or growth or hiring or here's a solution. You need to know your P&L. And by the way, here's a How to Read a P&L for Dummies book. You can have it, right? No call to action. Just send me an email. I'll give it to you. And then now you have their email. Now you can drip content and information. And when they need something in your wheelhouse, guess who they're going to call? They're going to call you. Right? And so I think it's, so we got identifying what we want to do, reverse engineering the long-term goal, creating our core values around that, and then identifying a marketing strategy that's going to help you create inbound leads. I've been in the business for 15 years now. The first 5 years I begged for leads. Begged. Bro, it was, dude, even saying this, I'm just like, I can't believe that I did it.
Cringeworthy.
Jonathan, I would meet with you. I would have a meeting with you. And before the meeting, I would go on your Facebook and I would pick 10 people out of your Facebook and I'd just put them on a fucking list. And at the end of the meeting, I'd say, hey, man, there's a lot of people that you and I know together. These are 10 people that I was going to reach out to in the next 30 days. Can I mention that I know you? And people were like, you stalked my top 5 on MySpace, motherfucker. Like, these are my best friends. But it was so awkward, and because I didn't put the right priorities in place, that was my lead magnet.
Yeah.
Now, 10 years later, after I realized that I was an idiot on the block and looked foolish, right? I don't ask for referrals. I don't run ads. I run free information through my social media channels.
Yep.
And I just give it away. And what that has led to me doing is referral partners such as yourself and plenty of other people that we know together.
Yep.
Being on separate stages, talking about what we do for clients and all those things. And then those speeches lead to 5 or 6 or 10 people who are interested in talking. I've been 2 weeks, I was on the road speaking. My calendar is full for 4 weeks.
Yep.
4 weeks. I paid nothing. Right? And because I'm dialed in, 80% of those people can become clients.
Yep.
So the reality is, like, I think there's a misconception of like, oh, I need to get in the Mint magazine and I need to get free estimates. Like if you're in, let's just talk about this for a second. On the way to work today, landscaping. I passed fucking 30 landscape vehicles, and what is their advertisement? Free estimates. I mean, are we really still stuck in the free estimate days? That moves no one.
No.
That moves no one. So the reality is, like, we have to clearly, the reason that they do that is because they see all their competitors do it, and they feel that if they don't do it, they're going to lose business.
Yep.
Well, that goes back to the identifying what your core values are, what you will and won't stand for, and executing to the best of your ability. And you got to add a little salt in there. You got to be different. You got to be different. If I had a landscaping company right now, the bold letters, we charge for estimates. And guess what? Then underneath it in real small print, made you look. Boom, give us a call for whatever service.
Yep.
And that the reality is, I've made fun of all my competitors that I drove by all day, right? So I get an internal chuckle because I'm clever. And then I've gotten 30,000 people that I've driven by throughout the day to look, and now they'll know me. Oh, this guy's a shit talker. He's funny. He's different. So you got to understand not to run with the masses, right? Especially in the marketing world, because there's only so many marketing clever fucking unique pieces that free estimates can come from, right?
Yep.
So be different, educate. Dude, if I'm in landscaping, dude, I'm having a GoPro strapped to my shit and I'm recording everything all day
100%.
and I'm going to cut it up in little reels. Hey, man, this is how you edge this particular grass. Hey, this is how you trim this particular palm tree, right? And I'm just going to educate, because the more that I come out as a subject matter expert, the more my phone rings.
Yeah.
And I think that's completely overlooked.
To think about it this way, if you're in any business for any length of time, it could be a month, 10 years, 15 years. After you've been doing it for a while, you understand that people have maybe 5 pain points, 10 pain points on why they buy your product or service. And you also have the questions that are basically repeated on every sales cycle. What I would be doing is making a list of the top 10 or 15 questions that you have to answer every fucking day. Okay? And build all your content around that. Like what Keith's saying, go to work with a GoPro on. Well, listen, people want to know how to clean up an edge, do this. If I was a lawn care company, you know what drives most homeowners bananas? Having that one yellow spot or those 2 yellow spots where it doesn't even make sense that it's there, but there's a yellow spot there. If you showed somebody how to fix that without you, guess what? The first time their lawn company pisses them off, or they're just over it, they're going to be calling you. They're going to be coming to you. Why? And guess what? You can put all these things on your site, on your YouTube, and you can still post them. And guess what? Like Keith said, all you're doing at this point is you are making something that's a repeatable process that people are going to watch or consume or want to watch. And then at the end of it, If they don't call you that day, they're eventually going to call you as long as you keep posting that content and they have that need. It's just building the business from the ground up the right way.
I think that's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
And then when you get to a point where you're making money based on your content, then you can hire a specialist to do that. The new trend is virtual assistants. Okay,
Yeah.
so this one's going to floor a lot of people because there's a lot of people out there that have no idea that this exists.
Mm-hmm.
You got 5 employees that are in the Philippines. 5.
Yep.
And I think I pay them very well, in relationship to what they typically make. Most VAs make between $3 and $8 an hour, U.S. dollars, and in the Philippines, that's a lot of money. So what I did was I found a really, really headstrong, savage employee over there, and I paid him double, $15 an hour, and I said, "Go find me 4 people just like you." And dude, the loyalty that you can get in a different country for $14 an hour is mind-boggling. It almost makes me not want to hire anyone here in the U.S. because of the bullshit, right? And we all deal with it. But the reality is, if you just ask questions, you can find really cheap labor in retrospect to what we have here for those jobs that don't require a person to be present in your office, right? And COVID changed the game.
Yep.
COVID let us all know that we could work from home and be somewhat productive, maybe not 100% productive. I know I wasn't 100% productive just because I got bored sitting at home. But the reality is, if you lead correctly, you have the right morals, you have the right values, and you hire the right people, you don't have to be in an office together. Right? Then the reality is, like, that person too, let's talk about marketing, right? Is your team sharing your content? Is your team making their own content for your business? Is it a requirement? Is it something that you ask of them? And roofing companies are kind of what brings that to mind. I was talking with a client this morning, and I'm like, "Hey, your employees haven't been sharing content lately. I haven't seen it." And he's like, "Yeah, I noticed that. We had a discussion about it last week." I'm like, "Well, what happened?" He's like, "Oh, well, sales are down 30%. I said, "Well, what changed?" He said, my people quit sharing content." It is that important. And dude, these guys all do the same shit. They're on the roof. "Hey, look at this hail damage. I'm in Texas. Look at all the hail damage. Here's how to identify it. Here's what to look for. Here's how you replace it. Here's how you fix it." And it doesn't have to be state-of-the-art shit. But the reality is, I don't know shit about laying a shingle. I don't know shit about putting a tile roof on the ceiling. Like, I don't know any of it. But guess what happened when I bought this building back last year? It needed a new roof. There's not a lot of people that do tile roof installations here in Jacksonville anymore. I found my guy because he was posting about it on Instagram. And then I just went and watched a ton of his videos, and he knew what the hell he was talking about, and I learned. And then I had him out here for a consultation, and he was just as educational in person as he was on. I was like, "You're the guy."
Yep.
I don't even care how much you cost. I just know that it's going to be done correctly based on how good you are at educating me.
Let me ask you something, Keith. When you were going through that, do you feel that was probably a very, very easy transaction for him?
Yeah.
Why?
Super easy. Because he provided all the data on the front end. He gave me all the education I needed to identify him as the expert.
So when he walked in, you knew him, you liked him, and you already trusted him because of the content.
I never even really met him.
Correct, but you could get a feel based on videos.
Yeah. So no like and trust factor for sure.
That's it.
And that's part of what you're delivering by doing the marketing on social media. And listen, don't beat a dead horse and post 34 times a day about roofs. But there's also ways around to post something humorous that correlates back to roofs. right? There's ways to post about other things that make people think about you as a business owner. And guess what? You're a roofer. And
Mm-hmm.
they know that's what you're doing. So, I've always been taught by mentors like you're going to post a few times a day. Once you're going to post about what you do professionally, then you post about something funny, and then you post about your family,
Yep.
right? Something about who you are outside of work to get them to know that portion of you. Whether it's you on the boat or on the jet skis or out fishing or with your kids or whatever it might be, doesn't matter. People need to see who you are outside of the professional arena. And to your point, like he walked in the door and I felt like we were homies already,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And again, like there was no haggling, there was no like second guessing this guy. It was just like, hey, at this point, I just need to know how quick you can get the shit done.
Yep.
You know,
Here's the check.
yeah. Let's get
Here's
this
the
thing
check.
real. Like, what are we waiting for?
Yeah.
But the reality is, like, it doesn't matter what your profession is. That's the easiest key. I call it the keys to the Bentley
Yep.
because it'll get you there.
Guys, you heard it here. This is not new. It's our spin on what we know works. Okay. We didn't invent it. Not going to say we did. We know it works, and it works for every industry and every business. So, guys, do us a favor, share this with someone who needs to hear it. Just get this out. That's all we care about. Please get it out and get this to all your friends, anyone that owns a business, because we want to help build this back one business at a time. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, and we will catch you guys on the next one.